People's matter. God is taking over. 'Cause lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire is gonna burn up their soul.
This is Ryan, Cincy Life Radio, Disruptarian.com. You can check us out at Clovistar.com as well. It's January 7th, 2015. But I just want to ask you a few questions. I want to provoke some thought. I grew up very liberal. My family, working class, union, members, liberal Democrats, progressive even, to some extent. And everybody I grew up with, skateboarders, pot smokers, stoners, whatever, that's who I grew up with, in school. And, most of them, probably 90% of them, grew out to be, Obama supporters in the last election and very progressive. And I want, the government to be my mommy and daddy. A lot of these people that I grew up with are like that. Here's what I want to know, though. When you guys are really upset, cannabis should be, legalized. The government is, terrorizing us with these cannabis laws. 20 million people in prison for cannabis since prohibition started. No, the government's messed up. Why is the government picking on people? The government's always playing favorites. They're giving out too much money to the rich people. They're giving tax breaks to people who don't deserve it. They're giving this and that. Oh, look what they're doing with Monsanto. They're, giving them special privileges. They're killing us. And look at Big Pharma that gets all these rights from the government. Oh my gosh, and all the loans and all the tax breaks. Look at Big Pharma. They're killing us. They're killing us. They're killing us. And then, when somebody stands up and says, hey, all of this BLM land is unconstitutional. You go to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution that defines what the federal government can own for land. And it's not in there. They can own about 10 square miles around Washington, D.C., and they can own ports and forts, enough land to sustain ports and forts. But not the BLM, where the BLM owns like 2/3 of the West and a lot of the East and a lot in the middle. A good portion of the United States, the BLM is in control of. There's nothing constitutional about that. And there's also nothing constitutional about cannabis laws as we speak about that. Look what they had to do to make alcohol prohibited. They had to change the Constitution. They had to amend the Constitution and give us the 18th Amendment to make alcohol prohibited. When they released that and decriminalized alcohol prohibition, they had to create the 21st Amendment. What amendment was ever created to make cannabis prohibited? We just accepted it. They just said one day, hey, cannabis is prohibited. We're going to write up some new lingo. Nothing in the Constitution, so it's not legal. It has to be constitutional. And if it's not constitutionally based, it's illegal. And we have to stand up for our Constitution. That's the only thing that protects everybody. Democracy doesn't protect everybody. Democracy is where you get people like Hitler. Hitler was elected by popular vote. Stalin, you get a lot of democracies. Democracies is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. The majority wins. And that's what's wrong with democracy. A constitutional republic, even with its flaws, is a more perfect system, saying no matter what, we're all created equal. No matter what, we all get these rights, regardless. No matter what, the government is restrained and can only do this much and can only do that much. And no matter what, the government is restrained and can only own this much. They can't consume and take more than this much that's defined by the Constitution. And if the Constitution needs to be amended by a democratic process, it has to go through all three branches of government. The House, the Senate, and the executive branch. Without that, it doesn't work. These executive orders that Obama just threw down on us, that's dictatorship. That's not a democracy even. That's just plain fascist. That's Hitler all over again. I know Bush had them too. I know all of them have done executive orders. Where is that justice? Where is that, accountability, to just be able to say, okay, I'm writing up a few more things. This is how it's going to be. No more guns. No more. This is what Hitler did, when he took away the guns from the Jews, his enemies. He's like, they're fine to give weapons to Syrian rebels. They're fine to give weapons to, basic, Al-Qaeda type folks all over the world. And Fast and Furious, where they gave a whole bunch of guns to the cartels in Mexico. One ended up killing a Border Patrol agent. Senator Yi was running guns at the same time he was making anti-gun laws. He was also running guns to Asian gangs in San Francisco. Fortunately, he was indicted for it. But they make all these anti-gun laws. They're the ones giving all the guns away. Or droning people. How many tens of thousands of innocent people, something like 90% of the people who have been killed by drones in Obama's reign were innocent. They weren't enemy combatants. They had no reason to be droned. But yet, Obama cries, oh, people get killed. Man, in Britain, now they've got anti-knife groups. Hand in your knives. Be safe. Save a life. Hand in your knife. That's their new, dogma out there. That these anti-violence people are. To what end? I mean, something like 34,000 people a year in the United States get killed by guns. Most of them are by criminals that would have guns regardless. They can 3D print guns today. They can get them from the government, from Fast and Furious and Senator E, whatever. Guns aren't hard to get for criminals. But for law-abiding citizens, when the laws say, no, you can't have guns, then it's really hard for people who abide by the law to have guns. But the people who don't abide by the law, they just make a pipe bomb, blow your ass up, I mean, that's not hard. They can do these things very easily. And we can't defend ourselves if we're unarmed. And if a tyrannical government like Nazism rises up out of some democratic system, how are we going to resist without any weapons? Hell, they got Apache helicopters. They got, F-16s. They got huge, cannons that shoot 90 grenades a minute. I mean, just huge amount of firepower. And they're worried about us having semi-automatic rifles? Semi-automatic rifles. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about semi-automatic rifles. And they're worried about that. That's what Obama's freaking out about right now. Man, in China, a couple of years ago, down in the subway in subway in Beijing, some guy started stabbing people with a knife. They don't have guns there. You can't get a gun in China if you're Chinese. But this guy had a knife and he stabbed 26 people. Hell, I could shave this down and make a knife out of this and start stabbing people right and left. It doesn't take much to sharpen a piece of plastic and enough that it will penetrate through skin. Anybody can find a weapon. Cars. Look how many more cars kill people than guns kill people. Way more. Like 68,000 people a year die in car accidents. It's like more than twice as many people that die from guns. Are we going to ban them? Are we going to ban hammers? You're more likely to get killed by a hammer than you are a gun in this country. Or an aspirin, Well, I guess not. 7,500 people a year die from aspirins. But, I mean, if we're going to reduce harm to where it's non-existent, there's no risk, then what? What are we going to have left? They're going to have to bound our hands because we can choke people. I mean, to what end? These people who are so hyper about the government, they're just persecuting us. Oh, look what they've done to Native Americans. Look what they've done to black people. Look what they've done to, marijuana people. Look what they've done to non-violent drug offenders. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. And then when, someone goes up and stands up for these rights and for these, persecutions and for these injustices, like these Bundys out there in Haney County, Oregon. Oh my God! No, the white people have guns! Oh, they're going to try to overtop the government and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what these liberals have been calling for. They've been getting so pissed off that when Baltimore burns or Chicago burns or Miami burns, they're cheering. They're like, yeah, look at them. Look at the protesters are burning shit and killing people and the cops are getting wasted. Yay! But then when somebody stands up that are white, that haven't hurt anybody, now they're all, the white people, they're up there, they're taking their guns out, and they're out of control. You people are fucking hypocrites. My God. Get a real fucking